Greetings everyone, Marquis TV again. Today is the 26th of January 2010. I feel incredibly fortunate today to have my friend Julien Barrot from Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Domaine Barrot, in Vancouver. His first time in Vancouver. He's going to San Francisco, New York, and he was Montreal, but told him he has to come here. We just had a little Facebook, Twitter group tasting, so for all of those that you came, thank you very much. We appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Julien's an enamoring guy. I first tasted these wines in 2006?
Yes.
2006. Happened upon the stand and I thought, well, young guy, and I know there's a transition in France from young people taking over their fathers or their parents' family's domain. And I thought, well, let's just give it a shot. And the wines were impressive. So we missed out on the 2003 vintage because it was all sold out. It was the first vintage, and I've been bringing the wines in since the 2004 vintage. But the history of the domain is really interesting. I'm going to get Julien to just briefly take you through it because he does like to talk a lot, and then we'll taste through the wines. Julien, you want to explain the domain to our viewers?
So I'm Julien Barrot. I'm the 13th generation of wine brewer in my family. So. It's a long time that we are doing wine in my family, but as John told, we are really doing wine in bottles since not a long time. Today we will taste our 6th vintage from our estates. We will taste a signature, which is a blend of the 4 grapes variety we have on the estate. So the 4 grapes variety we have on the estate is Grenache, Mourvèdre, Syrah and Cinsault, with mostly Grenache. On the estate, one thing which is important, it's we work naturally in the vineyard and it's the same in the cellar. So in the wine, so there's no yeast, so we use wild yeast. There's no enzymes, there's no tannins, there's just grapes. And there's as well some clusters that we use for the vinification. Let's
taste. Yeah, I'm going to get just a little rinse on the glasses. I always like to do this. Some of you will notice that when we do taste, some of the glasses do have a little red wine in it before. I like to just get the cupboard smell and the cardboard or the cardboard smell out of the glass first because it does affect the wine. And then you think the wine's not great, but it's the glass. So this is the 06 Châteauneuf.
Yes. 06 is a vintage that I particularly like. It's a vintage which is really a vintage down for the table. It's fitting really well with a lot of kind of food, particularly pigeon, cheese, and some red meat, also some mushroom, some sauce. 06 is a vintage which is fresh with a good acidity and really thin vintage. This is a blend of 65% 100 years old Grenache, 15% Mourvèdre of 30 years old, 6% of Cinsault of 60 years old, and younger Syrah for the rest.
One of the things I want to talk about, for those of you who have been, and I don't have to explain to you, but for those of you who haven't, everybody, Châteauneuf is this unique area on this kind of plateau with different soils. It's got sand, it's got rock, everybody's seen, but it's got red rock, it's got different colored sand. And you want to explain that because that's
yes.
what brings the complexity and the finesse and the fineness to Châteauneuf. It's not necessarily, I know I've always talked about single plots and so on, but Châteauneuf's a little bit different. And it's got different soil characteristics. And a winery may own a vineyard one place and then in another place a kilometer down the road. So do you want to just explain that?
Yes, on the particularity of the soil in the estate, we have mainly sandy soil, but we also have some red clay. We also have red clay with pebble soil. So mix of clay and sand with pebble, mix of clay and sand without pebble. But mainly 80% of our blocks, there's at least 50% of sand on it, which is really the particularity of the domain. Here, at Châteauneuf, the magie is we can blend different grapes variety, and we can blend also different type of soil. I mean, for example, on this one, so it's 100 years old vines for the Grenache, and it's coming from mix of sand and clay. For the Cinsault, it's red clay with pebble soil. For the Mourvèdre, it's straight clay with pebble soil with some sand also. So each grapes variety are well in particular soil and particular exposition. And the game we have in Châteauneuf, and which is really nice to do, is to blend this different type of soil and this different grapes variety. So each singular things of these different blocks will add a part of the complexity in the final blending. After, each grapes variety has got their own characteristics, so they, I think that, and that's what I'm doing at the estate, I think they have to be aged in a different type of barrels, or in a tank, or in a full of 1 year old wood or 80 years old wood. Here, the Grenache are vinified separately, so just with smooth extraction technique, so just pumping over, and are aged in big old oak, so 5,000 liter oak, but oak which are from 80 years old, so we buy when we built the cellar in 1930. For the Syrah and the Mourvèdre, it's aged totally differently. It's aged on Burgundian barrels, wood of between 1 and 3 years old, on the lees. I mean, we fill the barrels just after the maceration, we'll leave on the lees, and we are not doing any racking during all the aging. And for the Senso, we age in tank, and we live in tank. And at the end of all the aging, you can really work on the blend, and you can add a percentage of this with this, and you can really arrive where you want to arrive. For the tasting,
let's taste that. The nose is great. It's got a ripeness, but still a freshness to it. Not over mature, so mature.
Yeah, a lot of freshness, a lot of spiciness also, and some floral also characteristic.
Brambly characteristics, a little sous-bois too, but really well integrated and really thoughtfully made. It's a delicious bottle of wine. Let's go to the Fiancé. Now here's the opposite, or the antithesis of this Chateau.
Fiancé, it's called the Fiancé because it's a mix of equal part of Grenache and Syrah. Le Grenache, which is masculine in France, La Syrah, which is feminine. It's more than 100 years old vines for the Grenache and 20 years old vines for the Syrah. So a really old one with a younger one. It's our early mature blocks for the Grenache and our late mature blocks for the Syrah. So it's in one side you have the fruit and the finesse, in other side you have the power, and all is matching together to do a unity. That's why we call it Fiancé. Fiancé, it's a bit the marriage of the opposite. And this wine is to show that in Châteauneuf, Grenache is our best friend and the king, but we can brew also a wonderful Syrah.
So this is, I would say, really the antithesis. Is when someone comes in and asks for a Châteauneuf, it's not the same. Do you want sort of, I want to say lighter style, but more finessey, more refined, fresher on the palate, or you want something a little bit denser, a little bit richer, on the more serious Syrah and Grenache? And this is what he makes with the Fiancé. So, and he makes another wine called Pure, which is 100% Grenache, but that's sold out. I'll show you what the label looks like. It's here. How many bottles do you make?
On the different wines, we are doing 300 cases on Pure, 400 cases on Fiancé, and 1,700 cases on Signature. So it's
tiny.
Tiny. We just have 25 acres, and we are really working on the quality, and we don't want to work on the quantity.
Now, if you do go to Châteauneuf, please look him up. He's great. He's passionate. He'll take you to the vineyards. He's great. Well, one final story about Barrot. When I was there,
less than 1 minute.
There was. We have a minute to go. There was a picture on a barrel of Julien and Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe was wearing a baseball cap, except it had the logo of the Leafs emblem. Not a good idea. Not a good idea, especially with being from Vancouver. I mean, the Canucks, actually we should send you a hat with the Canucks, so any special people can put it on and take a picture of it. Anyway, we'll have to fix that up next time. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.